Hey guys, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. So as promised, I'm going to show the interior work that we did on this super custom 64 Beetle here. It's gonna probably leave the shop a little later this morning, or at least today sometime. So by the time I do my video tonight, it'll be gone. But wanted to show you guys the work that we did here. So again, just interior only work on this one. The seats were done elsewhere, don't know where, but we did basically let me walk around the other side. We did the carpet and headliner, and lots of custom work, guys, because this car has custom stuff everywhere that we had to kind of accommodate here. So let's just take a look here. So the headliner is like an Alcantara type material, and super hard to work with according to Santiago, my upholstery magician, because it doesn't really stretch in the same way that vinyl does, or the normal headliner material. So pretty challenging to get it to fit nicely around all the corners and stuff. But of course, Santiago, being Santiago, managed to do it, and looks pretty amazing. So that's the headliner, which, other than, again, the material being a bit hard to work with, pretty straightforward. The carpet kit was a little bit more of a challenge than a normal Beetle, because, again, there's just a lot of custom stuff going on this car that we had to accommodate. So this ignition module here, for example, he went ahead and pulled that off, and then mounted it and ran the carpet and then mounted it on top of that. But then, like, for example, this wiring loom that they had going through the cargo luggage area floor here, had to make a little opening in that to accommodate that. Just stuff like that can add somewhat significantly to the amount of time. But look at that work, guys. So let's see, more complicated stuff up here. This is super cool. I did actually verify this is a line lock button, and then of course the e-brake handle itself here. It's all hydraulic, and can't really see it too well now because, again, the carpet's in here. But so Santiago went ahead and removed all this stuff so he could fully run the carpet underneath of it, and then remounted it. And then, probably hard to see here, but likewise, he ran the carpet all the way down the side here, and then basically created I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I wish I would have showed this before the carpet went in the rest of the way, but there's an opening in the carpet down there that was used to accommodate the hydraulic cables and stuff for this. So again, kind of hard to show now that it's all together, but yeah, there's just lots of thought and lots of work going into making that look super neat. Looks factory essentially. And then again, more custom stuff going on up here. So he actually he requested that we make two of these pieces here. So this is a plate for his heels to go on, I guess, to kind of cover a lot of this hydraulics and stuff going on here with the pedal assembly. But basically what we did was, per his actual request, was go ahead and put this on with Velcro, so if he needs to remove this plate, he's got access to the screws here for that, rather than having the screws showing through this. Kind of a cleaner look that way, and just Velcroed on there. But he did actually request that we make a second one of these, because sort of knowing that his heel kind of resting in this area here is gonna probably wear out the carpet, and so he asked us to make a spare one. That way, if he shows up at a show or whatever and this is a bit worn, that he would have like a fresh one that he could put on there that didn't have any wear patterns or anything on it. So what we went ahead and did, though, is the spare one we made, we put an actual heel pad on it. So now he's got kind of both choices. I would probably, if it was me, I would use this one for when I'm driving the car, and then under normal circumstances, and then for a show or whatever, maybe put on this one that kind of looks more clean, and leave this one pristine, and use this one for sort of daily driving duties, or anyway, whatever he wants to do. Now he's got sort of both options there. But yeah, lots of work to get this carpet fit all nicely around this assembly here and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it, guys. Carpet and headliner, but lots of custom work to get those to fit in around all these cool machined one-off bits and pieces that are all over this car. So there you go, guys, and we'll pick up where we left off here this evening. Thanks. Hey guys, I'm back. So it is the end of the day now, and the 64 custom Beetle that we did the headliner on and the carpet is gone, and in its place came another car for upholstery work only. I'll show you that shortly. It's a 65 sunroof Beetle. So in the meantime though, why don't we talk about what else happened around here today. Worked on this one mostly, but let me start with go in chronological order here, at least with what I worked on. So started off the morning on this motor. So this is of course the fuel injected, air conditioned, heated motor for that guy, the 69 bay window that we lovingly call Big Blue. And so today spent some time fitting these heater adapters. I spent quite a bit of time, I think, explaining maybe yesterday or something, the point of those when you have a header and versus a stock muffler that has the adapters to go from the heater box to essentially the air tubes, the fresh air tubes. Anyway, so yeah, these things come a bit too long, and of course when they come they're straight, and so you have to, in my experience at least, you have to shorten them somewhat, like half an inch or so usually, and you've got to just use a lot of elbow grease to try and get them to come to the right angle where they made up with the holes in the breastplate there. So it's not easy. The stuff is pretty hard to bend. I mean, it is like a corrugated tube, but it's steel versus like the kind of aluminum ones that you normally see on Volkswagens. But anyway, yeah, it just takes some elbow grease and some patience to kind of get them bent up to the right place where, again, the goal is for them to line up with the holes on the breastplate. They don't have to be perfectly centered on those holes in my experience, because there is a grommet that goes over these on this side, the top side. And so if they're kind of off to the one side of the hole in the breastplate, it kind of gets covered with that grommet anyway. And it's, again, in my experience, it's fairly impossible, at least with the headers I've been using, to get these things like perfectly centered in those holes. So anyway, yeah, this one shortened it about half an inch, like I said, and just, kind of manhandled it into place. This one took a bit more work, and the last bay window bus that I built that got one of these headers, I don't remember having to do that, but on this particular one, it was hitting the header really bad in here. Let me see if I can actually get this off. Yeah, it's gonna come off. And so basically what I had to do was I disassembled it, so it just has three, essentially pop rivets holding this hose to this metal sleeve here. So drilled those out and separated this so that I could cut sort of a notch in it where it kind of like, essentially like, there it is, where it sort of goes up against the header, because when this came straight down like this over here, that was holding it way too far this way. And so in order, again, to like even line up with the hole at all, I had to essentially notch this piece here. And then once I did that, I took essentially like a ball peen hammer and kind of like essentially like pounded this area here in to, again, kind of clear the header. So yeah, a bit of work, but if you want to run heater boxes on a car that's got a header, then you're kind of stuck using these type of adapters, or coming up with your own thing. But yeah, kind of time consuming, but worth it if you want to run a heater. And they're super clean as far as like the install. They look good on there. Not that anyone will really see it when the engine's in the car and all assembled, but yeah, not hokey looking at all. Super nice. Again, these are made by CSP, and you can find them at the guys in Canada. CIP1 usually has them in stock. I ended up getting them from a different shop also in Canada, and I'm sorry I don't remember their name because CIP1 was out of stock. But anyway, so yeah, there you go. Spent some time on those. The other thing I did was I took the muffler over to our friends at Washburn's Metal to weld a new O2 bung. I think I talked about this the other day. The bung that was put on this header for the O2 sensor, again, this is a closed loop fuel injection system, so it's got to have an O2 sensor. Where they put it right there, there's only about that much room between that bung and the mustache bar, which on a bay window bus is kind of the rear motor mount. No room at all in there for an O2 sensor. I don't know why they put it there, but probably just weren't really thinking about it being on a bay window. Anyway, so went ahead and had Brian's team add a bung right there. And so that one, when the muffler's on, is going to kind of, you know, face like roughly this way and clear the mustache bar, clear all this, and fit in there nicely. So problem solved with that. So that was pretty much my morning on this one. After that, I turned my attention to this guy here, this beautiful 66 bus, and just kind of continued working on the brakes. So we had decided while we had the back brakes apart to go ahead and also replace the axle seals, which commonly leak. And so, you know, it's like we're in there already, might as well just replace the axle seals too. And if you saw the episode a few episodes ago, the bearing spacers were, you know, essentially like frozen onto the axles, and we had to grind on them so that I could use a puller on them and get them out. Anyway, big pain in the butt, but now everything is back together here. And I don't know who decided to paint the inside of the drums this kind of brick red color. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, I didn't really want to take the time to paint them black. It gets covered, and it does have a paint job. It does have paint on it, so it's not like it's all rusty. So I'm like, okay, fine. But anyway, yeah, so everything in here is new, and one side or the other, I think it was this side, had a leaky cylinder, leaky wheel cylinder. Maybe it was the other side, I don't know. Regardless, we always replace wheel cylinders in pairs. And then likewise, the side that had the leaky wheel cylinder, the brake pads themselves seemed fairly new. However, they were, of course, saturated with brake fluid from the side that had a leaky wheel cylinder. So at that point, you know, brand new brake shoes, brand new, pretty much brand new everything in here. So now it should be good to go. So the next step on here, and then I also formed made new hard lines that run between the wheel cylinder and the rubber hose there. So that's all new as well. And so the next step on here is going to be to assemble the front brakes, which are a bit of a pain on these because they do have two wheel cylinders, and there's a brake line that connects the two wheel cylinders that's kind of a pain in the ass, frankly, to form and have it not interfere with any of the stuff going on in the brakes on these. So but yeah, that's the next step, is to do that. And then I don't think the master cylinder is in here yet. So yeah, there's still a bit of work to go, honestly, guys, to finish the brakes on this. Because again, this thing had leaks pretty much everywhere. It had a kinked brake line. It had a brake line that had been being sawed on by the clutch cable. So just a mess. So at that point, you know, we don't really take chances with brakes, guys. So pretty much entirely new brake system on this car, front to back and everywhere in between. So yeah, that was pretty much my afternoon. Why don't we go outside for a minute and see the new car that came in for a headliner? Hold on. All right, guys, so here it is. This car just came in from another shop, the same shop, in fact, that the 64 came in from, and they wanted us to do a headliner. And it's, of course, a 65 sunroof Beetle. So they sent the car with a headliner kit from Wolfsburg West, and those kits are pretty nice. So we went ahead and we're installing that. And so, yeah, I won't spend a whole lot of time here, but Santiago has already started installing it. So you can kind of see an early stage of installing the headliner here. Obviously, lots of work goes into this and making him look tight and amazing, but he'll probably finish this headliner up tomorrow. So I will be sure to show the final result before the car leaves, because it's possible that this car could be leaving by the end of the day tomorrow. But one way or the other, I'll make sure to show you guys the results when it's done here. This beautiful red 65 sunroof Beetle. All right, hold on a second. Okay guys, here we are back indoors. So yeah, that 65 Beetle may be done tomorrow with the headliner. At least as of now, that's the only thing we're doing on it. And again, I will be sure to show you guys the end result when it's done. So lots happening around here. I think the 67 Beetle that was white and is going to be Java green is probably getting painted like literally in the next couple days, guys. So stay tuned for that. Java green is such an amazing color. Can't wait to see that car in color, and it's going to be such an amazing complement to the other colors that we have in here now. Equally beautiful to this green, but a totally different green. So yeah, should be fun, guys. Anyway, that's it for today. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye.